Hi, welcome. This is a review for the Unit 3 test for Secondary Math 2 Honors. All right, let's go straight to this. The first problem says factor out the GCF from the given polynomial, the greatest common factor, and we would do that in the following way. I'd say 56, 2 goes into 56 28 times, 2 goes into 28 14 times, 2 goes into 14 7 times, and 7's prime, so we stop there. I'm going to write 56. Yeah, I'm going to go a little further here. The x to the 7th means that I've got x multiplied by itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then I've got 16x to the 6th. 16 is 2 into 8, 2 into 4, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. And so I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and x times x times x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And then I've got 24. Give myself a little more space. 24, 2 into 24, 12. 2 into 12, 6. 2 into 6, 3. And 3 is prime, so I'm done. And then x cubed is x times x times x. So we're looking for what they have in common. So look at the numbers first. They all have at least 1, 2 in common. They also have a second 2 in common. And they have a third 2 in common. And as far as the numbers go, that's it. The least number of x's that they have is 3. They all have x's, though. They have at least 3 x's. So I would circle that. And so our greatest common factor is 2 times 2 times 2. I'll go ahead and write it out. 2 times 2 times 2 times x times x times x, the 3 x's. I'm going to multiply those out. That gives me 8x cubed. And then I look at what's left. I've got a 7, so 7. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, so that's x to the 4th. Plus 2 x cubed, that's 2, and x cubed. And then I've got plus 3, and that's it, because I took all of the x's out. And so I don't have any x's left to add onto that third term. And so this is what that looks like when you factor out the GCF. All right, let's look at number 2. So 12 is 2 times 6 and 2 times 3. And 18 is 2 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3. And 30 is 2 times 15, and 15 is 3 times 5. And so I see they have a 2 in common, and it looks like they also have a 3 in common. And that's it. This one has a 2, but the rest of them don't. This one has a 3, but the rest of them don't. This has a 5, but the other two don't. And so our GCF is 2 times 3, or 6. And then I look at the x's. And this one has 7 x's. The other two have at least 7. And so the GCF is x to the 7th times 2. And then I ask myself, what do I multiply by x to the 7th to get x to the 9th? And that would be x squared, or 2 x's, and the 7 x's is the 9 x's that we have in this term here. And then 6 times 3 is 18, and x, just one x times the x to the 7th would give us x to the 8th. And then on the, and that's the same as that 3 here. And then I've got 5 that I didn't multiply, so that's 5. And I've got all of the x, the 7x's there, so I don't need to add anything to that. And so this is the GCF factored out and what's left together. All right, let's look number 3. It says factor out each completely. So first thing I'm always going to check for is the GCF. And I look at the smallest number, 6, and ask myself, can I divide the other numbers by 6? No. So I look at the next factor, 3, and I can't divide them all by 3. The first 3 terms have V's, but so I don't know. It looks like what I'm going to do is use a box. Factor by grouping, but I'm going to use the box. So I'll put 14v cubed plus 6v squared minus 49v minus 21. And I say this have 2 in common, 2v squared. And 49 and 21 are both multiples of 7, so I'm going to say they have a 7. And that's it. But because they're both negative, I'm going to put minus 7 on that. Then I look at the first column, 14v cubed minus 49v. They have 7 in common, and they also both have a v. And then finally, 6v squared and minus 21 are both 6 and 21 are both multiples of 3, so I'm going to put 3 there. I am going to put plus, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to check 7v times 2v. 7 times 2 is 14, and 7v, and v times v squared is v cubed. So that is fine. Let's try to undo that. All right, and then 2v times 3 is 2 times 3 is 6, and v squared, 6v squared, so that's good. 7v times negative 7 is negative 49v, that's good. And then finally, negative 7 times 3 is 21, and that's negative 21, so that's good. So I've checked everything. My factors then are 7v plus 3 times 2v squared minus 7. And those are the factors. All right, let's look at 4. 40x cubed minus 48x squared plus 5x minus 6. There's no GCF. I've checked. There is not one. So I'm going to use the box again. So I put 40x cubed in the top left box minus 48x squared plus 5x minus 6. And then I ask myself for each row and each column, what is the GCF? 40 and 48, I think 4, and x squared. Wait, no, 8. 8 is bigger than 4, and they're both divisible by 8, so 8x squared. All right, and then 5x and minus 6, they don't have anything in common, so they just have 1 in common. And 40x cubed and 5x, they both have 5 and x in common. And then 48 and 6 are both multiples of 6, so I'm going to put 6, because they're both negative, I'm going to put minus there. And then I'm going to multiply it out. Just say, hey, 6 times 8x squared is minus 48x squared. Yes. 8x squared times 5x is 40x cubed. 8 times 5, 40, x squared times x cubed, yes. 1 times 5x is 5x, so yes. And 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So I've multiplied everything out, and they all pan out. So my factors are what I've just write out. They're 5x minus 6, the one from the top, times x squared, 8x squared, plus 1. And those are the factors for number 4. All right, we're moving right along. Number 5. This time I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to use the factoring, but without the box. So I'm going to write 35xy plus 30x. I'm going to leave a space here, minus 28y minus 24. And I'm leaving it, so I'm going to group the first two and I'm going to group the last two, but then I need to put a plus in between them. And then I factor out the GCF for each of those. So I'm going to say this is 5x times 7y plus 6. 5 times 7, 35, x times y, xy. And then
there is
5...
a silver Mazda on the driving range. There is a silver Mazda 3 on the driving range. You are about to be towed. Please move your car. Thank you.
5 times 6 is 30x. And then I've got negative 28y and negative 24. When you have a negative as your leading coefficient, you want to factor out the negative. And so both of those are multiples of 4. So I'm going to take out minus 4 times 7y, negative 4 times a positive 7, negative 28y. And then negative 4 times positive 6 would be negative 24. And here I see that we have that common factor of 7y plus 6. We factor that out. We get 7y plus 6. And you factor out of the first one, you get 5x. You factor out of the second one, you get minus 4. And so the factors are 7y plus 6 times 5x minus 4. And if you prefer to use the box to do that, you should have gotten the same answer. So check that against what I've got here. Number 6. So for number 6, I'm gonna go back to the box. I like the box. It's a nice way of organizing it. So I got 24xy plus 3x plus 8y squared plus y. 24xy and 3x both have a 3 and an x in common. 8y squared and y both have a y in common. 24xy and 8y squared both have 8 and y in common. And 3x and y apparently don't have anything in common. You always have 1 in common, so push 1 there. And I'm going to put plus here. And then I'm going to multiply just to check. 8y times 3x is 24xy. Yes. 3x times 1 is 3x. Also yes. And y times 8y is 8y squared. Good. And y times 1 is y. Good. So my factors are, I've checked them, 8y plus 1 times 3x plus y. And that's good for number 6. Number 7, x squared minus 17x plus 72. Here, I'm going to do this a little bit differently because it's a trinomial. So my AC value is 72, and my B value is negative 17. And I'm going to go through all the factors. Because it's positive, either both of the numbers are positive or both of the factors are negative. but because b is negative, that means both numbers are going to be negative. So I'm going to put -1 times -70, and that would give me -71. -2 times -35, and that would give me -37. Oh, and I'm going to put an x because no, a no. And so 3, will 3 go into 72? I'm sorry, this is wrong here. That's not 35, it's 36. And that would add to -38, but that's still no, that's still not it. So then I go 3, and 3 will go into 72. 3 goes into 72 24 times. I'm thinking -24. And so that's -27. Again, still no. Will 4 go into 72? I think it will. So I'm going to put -4, and 4 goes in there 18 times, -18. And that would be -22. And we're getting closer, but no, we're not there yet. It has to be -17. And 5 won't go into 72, but 6 will. And 6 goes in there 12 times, so that's -12. And -6 plus -12 is -18. Oh, we're so close, but no, that's not -17. And so I say, well, how about 7 won't go into 72? Will 8? I think 8 will. So I'm going to say, how about 8? 8 goes into 72 9 times. -8 times -9 is +72. And -8 plus -9 is -17. Those are the numbers we're looking for.
Jaden Mappa, meet your parents in front of the school. Jaden Mappa, meet your
So-
parents in front of the school.
So I'm going to use the box here. I'm going to write x squared here. I'm going to take -8 and write -8x. I'm going to take the -9 and write -9x. And then the plus 72 is off to the end here. Then I factor by row and column. X and x, -8 and -9. And when I multiply those together, it gives me everything on the inside. So what I get for my factors are x minus 8 times x minus 9. All right, look at number 8. B squared plus 15b plus 56. AC is 56. Because A is 1, so that's 1 times 56. And B doesn't refer to the B's in this problem. But we get, let's see, it's 15. It's the coefficient of the middle term. That's what that B refers to. And so we got 1 times 56, and that'd be 57 when you add them together. 2 times 28, and that'd be 30 when you add them together. No. 3 won't go into 56. 4 will go into 56. How many times? 14, I think. 4 times 14, 56. And 4 plus 14 is 18. Still no. 5 won't go into 56. 6 won't go into 56. 7 will. 7 goes in there 8 times, and 7 plus 8 is 15. So those are our numbers. We go to the box. We put everything in the box. We put b squared in the box. We put 7b in the box. We put 8b in the box. We put plus 56 in the box as well. And these are positive, and this is positive. And then I say, hey, these have a b in common. These have a b in common. These have 7 in common, and these have 8 in common. And so we've got our factors are b plus 7 times b plus 8. And we're good. Number 9. The first thing you should always check for is to see if there's a greatest common factor. And 3p squared minus 21p and minus 24 are all multiples of 3. So I'm going to factor out a 3, leaving p squared minus 7p minus 8. And then I'm focused on what's inside the parentheses. So my AC value, referring to just those, sorry, our AC is negative 8, and our B is negative 7. And the numbers that multiplied to give you negative 8 that add to negative 7, I'm thinking would be 1 times negative 8. A positive times a negative is negative 8, and 1 plus negative 8 would be negative 7. So those are our numbers. Once again, we're going to go to these a box. So I'm going to put p squared up here plus 1p from my 1 here minus 8p from my negative 8 here, and then minus 8 from negative 8 here. These two terms right here, plus 1p and negative 8p, if you add those together, you get negative 7p. And then p squared is here, and negative 8 is here. So everything in the polynomial in the parentheses is included in the box. Then I just say, hey, this is p, and 1 and p and negative 8. And so my factors are p plus 1 times p minus 8. And that takes care of everything except for the 3 that we factored out at the beginning. We need to put that in there as one of the factors. So we include that 3 there. And now our answer is complete. Okay, 10. So on number 10, once again, we want to check to see for our greatest common factor. So 24, I'm going to do this our other way. We would break it down into the prime factors. 2 into 24, 12. 2 into 12, 6. 2 into 6, 3. 102. 2 was into 102 51 times. And then 2 won't go into 51, but 3 goes into 51, and it goes in there. I think 17 times. Yeah. And then 17 is prime, so we stop there. And then 90, 2 into 90, 45 times. And then 3 goes into 45 15 times, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. And so what they have in common, they all have a 2 in common. And they only have 1 2 in common. Do they all have a 3? It looks like they all have a 3. And then that's it. That's all they have in common. So 2 times 3, 6. So I can factor out a 6. And when I factor out a 6 out of 24, I'm left with 2 times 2, 4, p squared. When I factor out the 6 out of 102, I'm left with 17. So that'd be minus 17p. And when I factor the 6 out of 90, I'm left with 3 and a 5, or 15. And so then I go off to the side here, and I'm going to say my AC value, this time I have something for A other than 1, it's 4. And C is 15. So 4 times 15 is 60. And B is negative 17. And so when I multiply two numbers to get 60, they both have to be negative in order to get a negative result for B. So I'm going to put negative 1 times negative 60, and that'd be negative 61 when I add them. No. Negative 2 times negative 30, negative 32 when I add them. No. Negative 3 times negative 20. Sorry. Negative 3 times negative 20, that's negative 23 when I add them. Nope. Negative 4 times negative 15 is negative 60, and that's negative 19. No. Will 5 go into 60? Yeah. Negative 5 times negative 12 would be positive 60, and when I add them, I get negative 17. Those are my numbers, negative 5 and negative 12. So I'm going to go to the box. Again, with the box, I'm only considering that part that's inside the parentheses. So I put 4p squared plus 15, and then I'm going to use negative 5p and negative 12p to go inside the box. 4p squared minus 5p, they both have a p in common. Negative 12p and plus 15, they both have 3 in common. And 4p and 12p, they have 4p in common. And 5p and 15, they both have 5 in common. And now I have to adjust for the signs. I'm going to put a negative on the 5 and a negative on the 3 because a negative times a negative is positive 15. And so my final factors in this case are 4p minus 5 times p minus 3. And then I need to remember the 6 that I brought out at the beginning. So that 6 is out in front. It's one of the 3 factors. And those are our factors. All right. I'll see you in the next video. I'll explain the next page. Have a good day.